Charles Bronson image source, Getty Images. Image caption. Charles Bronson, who now uses the name Charles Salvador, was first jailed in 1974. Notorious prisoner Charles Bronson has lost his latest bid to be freed from jail, the Parole Board has said. The panel said he had a history of persistent rule-breaking, lives his life rigidly by his own rules and was not suitable for release. Bronson, 70, from Luton, was jailed aged 22 for armed robbery in 1974. Now one of the UK's longest-serving prisoners, he took part in one of the country's first public parole hearings earlier this month. Bronson, who changed his surname to Salvador in 2014, is currently held at HMP Woodhill in Milton Keynes and has earned a reputation as a violent and dangerous inmate. In a document detailing the decision, the Parole Board said, after considering the circumstances of his offending, the progress that Mr. Salvador has made while in custody and the evidence presented at the hearings, the panel was not satisfied that Mr. Salvador was suitable for release. Nor did the panel recommend to the Secretary of State that he should be transferred to an open prison. Responding to the decision, Bronson's son George Bambi said, "I would have loved Charlie to have been released but completely respect the decision of the Parole Board." Bronson has had a film made about him and several books have been published during his time in prison. The panel said psychologists instructed by Bronson's legal representative were unequivocal in their view that he no longer required secure placement at HMP Woodhill. It is unclear whether the strong external controls of custody are mainly responsible or whether his attitudes have genuinely changed, the board said. The panel could not be satisfied that Mr. Salvador has the skills to manage his risk of future violence until he has been extensively tested outside of his current highly restricted environment. In the particular circumstances of this case, the panel observed that there is an identified pathway for Salvador in custody, and the evidence supported such a move within a closed prison. This is a pivotal point in Mr. Salvador's sentence, when his motivation to desist from violence is at its highest. A hearing in 2017 also refused Bronson parole. Bronson has spent most of the past 48 years behind bars apart from 2 brief periods of freedom during which he reoffended for a string of thefts, firearms, and violent offenses, including 11 hostage-taking incidents in 9 different sieges. Victims included governors, doctors, staff and, on one occasion, his own solicitor. Bronson was handed a discretionary life sentence with a minimum term of 4 years in 2000 for taking a prison teacher at HMP Hull hostage for 44 hours. Since then, the Parole Board has repeatedly refused to direct his release. 3 parole judges considered his case during a hearing at HMP Woodhill, while members of the press and public watched part of the proceedings on a live stream from the Royal Courts of Justice in central London. Bronson is currently held in HMP Woodhill, a Category A prison in Milton Keynes. Bronson told the panel he loved a rumble and enjoyed mass brawls in prison, but insisted he was now a reformed prisoner, had found solace in art and was a man of peace. He likened his experience in front of the Parole Board to being on BBC program, The Apprentice. The panel was told Bronson spent 23 hours a day in his cell with limited contact with other inmates. But it heard he would not cope with being released, even highlighting that he had never used a cash machine. Bronson told the Parole Board hearing, "Of the 50 years I have been in prison, I have probably deserved a good 35 of it. Because I have been very naughty. Not naughty, but just naughty. Give me a chance, a break, to prove to you people that I am just a normal geezer wanting to get on with his life."